I have a question for you. Do you have a church visitors center? Welcome. My name is Reverend Dr. Beverly Tillman, and I'm the senior leader at Greater Harvest Church Growth Ministries, and I work with senior leaders and their members to grow churches. So now I have the question again. Does your church have a visitors center? Now, a visitor center, by definition, is a place, a section of the church, usually in the back or right in the doorway, where visitors can stop as they enter the church. And as they stop there, there should be a table and members to greet them. There also should be a sign. Okay, now I want to start by saying, really listen to this and get your paper and pencils out and pens. See, I've gone into many churches and they don't have visitor centers. They may have a place that they call a center, but they don't really have visitor centers. A lot of churches have a piece of paper out where visitors can write their name, their phone number, etc., etc. And then the visitor goes right into the sanctuary. But no, a visitor center is a place that's active where the visitors can stop when they come into the church. It's the greeting center. So on the church table, you have a table covered over, can be covered with a white cloth, or it can be covered with a black cloth, or it can be colored with the cloth of your church. Whatever the theme is of your church, you can have that right on the visitor's table. Then you want to get a sign, and the sign should be either in black or white, or the sign should be in two colors that you choose from your church, just two colors. When you get to 3 and 4 colors, it just gets too busy and no one can understand what you're trying to say, especially if they whip by. And if your center, your visitor center, is not centrally located, a lot of the visitors will just whip by. They don't even know that they passed a center. So starting, I probably should have started with the location first. So let's talk about the location. One of the things that I do in my books is that I ask the church to show me the outlay of the church, and actually the outlay of the outside of the church. So I want to see what the church looks like so that we can choose a good place, an appropriate place for the visitor center. Some places the visitor center will be as soon as you step into the church, maybe a little to the side. And I suggest that if it's on the side, that it's on the right-hand side, because that's the side that people are looking at when they're right-handed. Now, next, when I decide, or when you decide, I should say, where the church visitor center will be, then you'll set it up. And you'll set it up with the cloth, as I just said, and the cloth should be the color of the church or black and white. And each church should have 3 primary colors that designate their church. Are you with me on that? So visitors come in, they go to the visitor center. At the visitor center, the big sign, like I said. And then next you want to have cards that you pass out that the visitors give us all of their information. They give you their first and last name, their phone numbers, their email address, the number of children that are in their family and the ages, and that's your visitor's card. Okay, visitor's card should be on the table. Okay, some churches have automated the visitor center, and they actually type in the visitors as they come in. Now, the only thing that's not good about that is if you have a lot of visitors coming in at one time, then you're not able to be fast enough to type in each visitor's information. So that's a reason why you want to have the cards. If it's one or two people, it's fine. But if it's a group of people, you want all the cards of all the people that enter your church. Okay, now with the cards, you want to make sure that you get back to each and every visitor within 3 days. You only got 3 days. And usually, if you're having service on Sunday, that means get back to them no later than Wednesday. It has to be Wednesday. Because we have found in marketing, yes, that's really what you're getting ready to do. We have found that 3 days after a person has seen you is when they need to hear from you again. Or guess what? They forget about you. And who wants to be forgotten about when they're trying to grow a church? Nobody. So you should be getting back to the visitors. If your service is on Sunday, you want to get back to the visitors on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. Now, if you miss Wednesday, please go ahead and call them anyhow. But try your best, set up a system with members of your church where the visitors can be called back within 3 days. It's extremely, extremely important. When you call them back, be sure to invite them to come again the next Sunday, and also be sure to tell them about any events that you're having in the church that they can come to. Now, make sure you do that. And also, when you call them back, you want to ask if they need prayer or if anyone in their family or any friends need prayer. It's very, very important. Since your church is a praying church, you want to be sure to ask people if they need prayer. And also, you might, as they come in the door, on your card you'll have, do you need prayer? And if they need prayer and they need it right then you want to make sure that someone gets to them after service to pray with them. Now, make your prayers short. Even when you talk on the telephone, make your prayers short. Because if they are not Pentecostal charismatic, guess what? They get tired of listening. So make sure that the prayers are short. You don't need very long prayers at all. As a matter of fact, I've actually told prayer warriors, can I leave now? You prayed for everything I need. I'm making a joke out of it, but this is what happens when you pray too long. And also what happens is that many people won't come back to your church because they won't know what to expect with the long prayers. So make sure your prayers are succinct and to the point. Succinct and to the point, so that your visitors will know that you prayed for them and so that they'll be excited about coming back. So now, also at the visitors table, you want to have a little bag with a little reminder in it or a card in it with the address, phone number, and name of your church. And you want to be sure you put that in the bag. Now, I've seen some churches with little cards, and one of them I saw was actually a heart. And the heart had the pastor and the first lady on the card. And those were actually in the bags and passed out. So in the bag, you should have information about the church. Also have a pen or pencil in the bag and a little piece of candy in the back. And then you give that to the person who comes into the church. And if they're bringing a child with them, you always want to ask, may we give this to your child? because not every parent wants children to have candy, and not every parent is okay with a stranger. And you're essentially a stranger when you walk into a church. They don't want strangers giving out things to their children, such as candy and cards and things like that. Okay, so that's the visitors table. You're going to have it all ready, and you need how many members to be at the table? At least 2. If it's a really busy Sunday or day of worship, guess what? You want to have 3, because each person can get involved in giving the cards, the identification cards, or the cards that give the information cards. Each person can give an information card to the visitor. And also, let me mention this, very, very important. Don't let the visitor get away until they filled out their card. And so if it's 2 or 3 members at the table, that makes it easier to get all of this information from the visitor. So try to get all of the information from the visitor. Okay, now the next part, let's see if I've told you everything. Data collection cards, small bags, and assign 3 people to the table. So let me go over that again. You want to have your visitor center as a table. It can be a card table or a card table height, or it can actually be a card table. But you don't want a really tall table that comes up here to some of your visitors. And I've seen it like that too, especially the small little visitors. They're going like this to try to get their head to figure out what's on the table. So you want to have this table. You want to have it black or white, or the colors of the church. You want to have a big sign. What do I have down here? 2 feet by 1.5 feet. That's a rather large sign that says visitors. And then visitors will know where to go when they get into your church. I mentioned something. Let me mention this. Some churches, you have to walk up steps to get to the sanctuary. When this is the case, you want to have whoever the greeters are on the first set of steps. You don't want visitors just trying to figure out where they're supposed to go. So make sure when you have steps leading up into the sanctuary, make sure there's someone at the bottom steps who can direct the visitor up the steps and to the sanctuary. Okay, you don't want to have your visitors table there because it creates a holdup when people are trying to get into the church and then up the steps. So let's get back. After you decided where the visitor center will be, it should be in the front of the church, probably, hopefully, before the sanctuary. But I've seen some churches that actually I've seen quite a few churches do this, and it works well. They put the visitor center in the sanctuary, but they put it on the side or to a corner, and then they greet the visitor as they come in. In some churches, when the morning prayer is being prayed, I should say just about all churches, when we're having morning prayer, we don't want visitors to walk in and walk down the aisles. So usually someone stands in front of the sanctuary door. When you do this, there should also be 2 members from the visitors ministry who just tell the visitor what's going on. We're having morning prayer, and we ask that everyone refrains from walking around in the sanctuary when we're having morning prayer. So make sure visitors know what's going on. When us church folks, we already know what's going on, and we already know why we're waiting before we go into the sanctuary. But people who don't go to church often or go to denominational churches quite often, they're not used to just waiting. So make sure you have someone there to tell them why they're actually waiting. Okay, let's go to the visitor center. And this is all, I'm just repeating it. Visitor center should have the visitor's card, get their name, their phone number, their address, and their email. Very important that you get the email. As a matter of fact, you might have it on the second line. Name, and then email, then phone number, then address, then the number of children that are in their family and the ages of the children. Okay, back to the visitor center. You also should have a little bag that has a card in it with the church information. And it's nice to have a card with the visitor's picture on it and the First Lady's picture. And then put in there also a pencil, a pen, and then a little piece of candy so that they'll remember you. And you want to pass that out to each person from that particular group of visitors, families, or friends that come to the door. Make sure that they get that. Next, and we'll talk about this on a later broadcast, but it's how the ushers and greeters work throughout the church to get the visitors in into the right place. So we'll talk about that the next time. Okay, so that's that. And I want to invite everybody to purchase my books. They're on Amazon. And we have one up in the corner. That's pretty much what the book looks like. You can go to Amazon and order books on Amazon also, or you can order them on our website. And our website, as you see at the bottom, is greaterharvestministries.com, or you can text that number 708-491-8471. So I want to thank you for listening to our broadcast. If you have any questions, you may email me at drtillman, at greaterharvestministries.com. And I look forward to hearing from you. God bless you, and I'll see you the next time. God bless you.